Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Game on Cloud 9 here, and I'm here to bring you guys a new Bleach chapter 505 prediction. Okay, now this week's chapter of Bleach to me was good, but at the same time, I wasn't too fond of the ending of this week's chapter. Now, let's just start off with the beginning of this week's chapter. Of course, it starts off with us seeing Yamamoto and Overkill getting ready to face off, and Overkill pulls out the medallion of Sasakibe and proceeds to use his Bankai. So we see lightning starting to appear, and basically we find out the nature of Sasakibe's Bankai was to be able to control the weather. So I guess I don't know if he can use other abilities, but the main ability we end up seeing Overkill actually use with Sasakibe's Bankai is lightning mainly, because then he went ahead and shot Yamamoto with a bunch of lightning all over him, and he just engulfed in lightning completely, like literally a majority of the chapter. So Yamamoto starts to have a little bit of a flashback moment, which I enjoyed the flashback for the most part. We got to see a little bit more of the relationship between Sasakibe and Yamamoto. Got a little bit more backstory on both of them, because Yamamoto, we don't really have too much backstory on him. So it's good to see him at a younger age, see little, like, kind of like, I guess you could get a better idea of how the early Goatee 13 was, or if that even was the Goatee 13 at the time, because from what I could see, it didn't seem like the Goatee 13 may have existed at that time. It seemed like Yamamoto kind of was doing his own thing and had his own little school going on, so maybe that was like the early beginnings of it. So Sasakibe, we found out that, he didn't want to be a disciple, or just a student of Yamamoto. He actually, what he mainly wanted to do is, well, I guess you could say, be his right hand or right arm. And, Yamamoto was just talking about, oh, you should just be my student and whatnot. And he's just like, no, because, if I'm your student, I won't be able to help you with things that you cannot do. So basically Yamamoto was telling him that, oh, you come back every so often, you come back, every day. And then Sasakibe tells him, I haven't come back in like a month, and I unlocked my Bankai, or he's able to use Bankai now. So then Yamamoto and him, I guess, have a little bit of a sparring match. We don't get to see the sparring match, of course, although that would have been kind of cool if we could have. But he ends up, I guess, scarring Yamamoto. Oh yeah, one other thing to notice in this chapter is also we got to find out Yamamoto's, I guess how he got his name Genyurosai, because at first everybody would refer to him as E.G. Sai or something like that. I think E.G. Sai. And he had, of course, a scar across his face, so that's why they would do that. I think it's supposed to be like from a character, a Japanese character or something. So I think that's why he was called E.G. Sai, because it said it like meant like some kind of letter or word or anything. But yeah, so I mean E.G. Sai, and then next they called him Jusai after Sasakibe actually scarred him with his Bankai. And Yamamoto talks about how his Bankai was like a child's, and of course, Sasakibe replies and agrees with him and says, yes, it was. But I plan on polishing it and making it stronger, which also kind of shows that Bankais do improve. It doesn't know, like Shinigami's power doesn't just have to stop just because they unlock Bankai, that they still can get more powerful, which explains, Ichigo later on, like you think about back when he fought Aizen, how his Bankai reached this incredible height of power, that Bankais can improve and mature. So, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to later on in this arc how much Hitsugaya improved, since we know that, he's supposed to have gotten stronger. He's trained a lot over the 2-year time skip, or 1.5 year, I think it is, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, Yamamoto had his little flashback moment. We saw, the relationship between him and Sasakibe, and he is just pissed off. I mean, he's just standing there with lightning, all over his body, just engulfed in it, and he just straight up you know what, I could tell before this fight that Yamamoto was just gonna go crazy, because for a minute we see Hisagi's looking like, he's not moving, what's going on, but Yamamoto, he's just like taking it like it's nothing. I mean, I guess makes sense since he is the captain commander. And he's saying that, this isn't how Sasakibe's Bankai really is. So then he just literally takes out his Zanpakuto and turns Overkill to ash, or at least burns him up. So you're probably wondering as to what I wasn't really fond of about this chapter. Now, I enjoyed the flashback, and I enjoyed I guess, somewhat of the beginning of the chapter, but the reason why I wasn't a big fan of the ending of this chapter is because I kind of felt like Overkill went down too easily or too quick. Now, don't get me wrong, Yamamoto is the captain commander, so he should be able to beat, a lot of people, especially, since he is supposed to be like the top dog Shinigami. But I would have liked to see Yamamoto, even if it was like Yamamoto wasn't really going serious, just to get a little bit more fight out of him instead of just these one-click slashes that we always see Yamamoto do. So that's why I wasn't too fond of it. Not only that, but I wanted to see more of what Overkill could do. And I'm like, kind of, I guess you could say his holy form. I wanted to see what his holy form was going to look like. Unless somehow he's going to end up healing next chapter, I definitely think the fight looks like it's done. So that's why I'm a bit disappointed as to how this fight ended, But nonetheless, I still enjoyed, I guess you say, most of the chapter. As for next week, though, I'm kind of wondering if, I don't know if we're going to see Ichigo. Maybe we'll flash back to Urahara and them, but I'm thinking maybe we'll get more of a focus on Kenpachi next week and Buckbeard, hopefully, since that was like what we saw in the previous chapter of Bleach, 503, we saw Kenpachi and Buckbeard clash, so maybe we'll go back and look a little bit of that, see how that's going. I'm hoping it's not just going to be off-screen and see Kenpachi just laying flat on the ground. So definitely I think that Kenpachi and Buckbeard will fight next week. And Yamamoto, maybe we'll get a little scene with him, or maybe he'll be talking with Hisagi about maybe something involving the Vandenreich members. So that's just my guess as far as what's going to happen next week's chapter. I'm sorry if that's not really necessarily like a big prediction or a big, I guess you could say, like, I don't have any real big predictions for next week. I guess you could say this is just a bit hard to call since Kubo can kind of take this any which way that he wants to at this point. But I am looking forward to next week. So tell me what you guys thought about this week's chapter and what you think is going to happen next week. Also, don't forget to go ahead and rate this video. So if you did like this video, please don't forget to put a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, you can put a thumbs down. The choice is yours, guys. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy my content and you want to see more. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.